Guess what, guys? I was tagged in a video. I was tagged by the wonderful Vanessa over at Paper Fairy for the Growin Up Book Tag. I will leave Vanessa's channel down below along with the channel in the original video of the person who created this tag, so you should check them both out because they both are fabulous. Question 1. Preschool. It's okay to admit it, you're in it just for the pictures. What's your favorite illustrated book? The illustrated Harry Potter books aside, it is The Invention of Hugo Cabret by Brian Selznick. I adore this book so very, very much. I would love to do a reread, but I kind of want to do a reread with like my niece and nephew, maybe, because it's just such a wonderful, magical story, and I love that the pictures are not pictures that go along with the story. The pictures tell the story. You have to look at the pictures in order to know what's happening for certain parts of the story. So I really, really like that it's not just that the pictures go along with the writing. There's writing telling the story, and there's pictures telling the story, and it is a wonderful, magical story. Even though there is no magic in it, it is so magical. I loved it so very, very much. I remember when I read it, I had read just a little tiny chunk of it, like I'd probably read like maybe this much or so, and I was cleaning my room or rearranging my room or something, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I just, for some reason, picked this up, and I sat on my floor because I had a whole bunch of crap on my bed, and I sat on the floor for 2 hours, or an hour and a half or something, and just read this until it was finished, and it was a wonderful, magical experience. And I don't have a review for The Invention of Hugo Cabret because I did read it before I started my booktube channel. Question 2. Kindergarten. Nap time. What's a book that put you to sleep? 1, I'm just going to go ahead and say that we never had nap time when I was in kindergarten. Is that a thing in kindergarten? But anyway, we'll go with it. Oh, you know what's funny is I actually have this book. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. My boyfriend knows I hate this book, that I was supposed to read it in high school and I didn't read it. And he got me this for some reason. He was like, look, it's Frankenstein. And I was like, thanks? He's like, yeah, but this one's by Mary Shelley, so maybe you'll like this one. And I was like, no, the one I tried to read in high school was by Mary Shelley. It's like the original story. But I definitely remember just like, I was like, maybe I can try reading it now. Like, I'm not 16 anymore. Maybe I'll like it now. And I opened it to the first page of the story, which is like the letters, and I was like 2 sentences in, and I was like, oh, no. This would definitely put me to sleep, for sure. It's so, like, it seems so dense to me and not interesting at all, and in a boring, old language that I just yawn. Question 3. Elementary school. Recess and story time and jungle gyms. So much fun. What's a book or series that's just plain fun? Fire and Flood and Salt and Stone by Victoria Scott. These books are fabulous. They are so much fun. They are fast-paced. There's a romance in it that's not like ridiculously super romancy, I guess, but there's a romance in it with a hot guy, obviously, and it's funny. The main character made me laugh out loud so much. She is hilarious. There's also magical animals in it. It's so much fun. These books are amazing. Also, I'm going to go ahead and do some shameless self-promotion and say Calypso by Natalie Cuddington, which is my first published book, which is a teen book, and it's about aliens being invaded by humans, and it's just action-packed. It's just full of non-stop action. There's a little bit of some insta-love in it, but other than that, it's just action fun. Question 4. Middle school. The awkward and embarrassing years. What's a book or series that you're embarrassed you used to be a huge fan of? I mean, I kind of want to say Twilight, because, like, for one, I'm not embarrassed because it's a book that was fun to read. Shouldn't be embarrassed about it. If you liked it, then you liked it. The only thing that embarrasses me about it, I guess, is that pretty much everyone on BookTube is younger than me. And everyone who loved Twilight when it came out was like 13, and I was 19. I read it in college. I actually said this in the comments on Vanessa's channel, but I'm going to say it in my video, is that My friend and I wanted Twilight when it first came out. It was during we both took a year off after high school before going away to college, and it was during that year that we were at Chapters and we saw this book, and the back, all it said on it was that like about there were 3 things about Edward Cullen I was absolutely certain or whatever. That thing was so intriguing to us. We were like, oh my god, this book sounds amazing, we need to get it. But we were poor, trying to save for college, right? And it was $20 because it was in hardcover, and we were like, well, we can wait for it to come out in paperback, like it'll be out in paperback at some point. And so we waited, and every single time we went to Chapters, we checked to see if Twilight was in paperback, and it wasn't. It came out in paperback when we were away at our first year of school. I was in college, my friend was in university, and my friend got it for Christmas. And then she was like, oh my god, Natalie, it's amazing. You have to read it. The guy in it is so hot. And then so I immediately went out and bought it in paperback, and it was amazing. And then, even though we waited a whole year for Twilight to come out in paperback because we didn't want to pay $20 for the hardcover, after finishing Twilight, we immediately went to the bookstore and paid $20 for New Moon in hardcover so we could continue with the series. I'm not embarrassed that I like Twilight. I'm just slightly embarrassed that I was not 13 years old. Number 5. High school. The popular girl, the jock, the nerd, the loner. These are all stereotypes, but people are more than they appear. Who is a character that you initially wrote off as a trope or stereotype, but grew to love? Oakley, from When It's Real, was kind of a jerk in the beginning. There were a few personality traits about him that I did enjoy, though, not because it made him likable, it made him realistic. But he was a jerk, and I was like, what? Seriously? Why does this guy have to be a jerk? But he ended up growing and not being a jerk, and he was fabulous. And I also think I'm gonna go with Kaz from Six of Crows. He was, even throughout the entire series, he was a jerk. He was a big douchebag. But he had a background and reasons for some of the things that he said and did that you didn't know about right away that made you really care for him, at least me. He still wasn't my favorite character because he didn't need to be a jerk all the times that he was being a jerk, but he definitely had a side to him that he tried not to expose to people, that when you read about it, it just really, really let you get to know him on a completely different level than what was like surface level, I guess, from the beginning of the book. So, yeah. Question 6. College. Out on your own, forging your own path, making your own schedule. What is your favorite coming-of-age story? Maybe Symptoms of Being Human by Jeff Garvin. I just read this fairly recently and I absolutely adored it. I loved so much about this book. So very, very much. I will link my review up there for you because I really, really, really loved it. And there were just many, many aspects of the story that I loved. I really enjoyed the character. I enjoyed that there were certain specific things about the character that you never knew throughout the entire story. And I liked the way the character reacted to things and the way the character's friends reacted to things and the way they all grew together as friends and how their relationships changed. This was a very well done story and I loved it. Question 7. Adulthood. Taxes and retirement accounts and car payments, oh my. All depressing, but you still have a sense that the world is your oyster. What is a book that's pretty depressing but also has a sense of optimism to it? Chloe Diller by Natalie Cuddington. The girl's fiance dies at the beginning and that's really sad and she's really depressed and she's having a hard time and you're like, tear. But then there's also a really nice friendship and someone who helps her through it. And also silliness because look at how happy the cover is because she's also happy. Okay, I'm trying to find something to use as a real answer and I can't find a book that's depressing but also optimistic. Maybe Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock? So that's the end of the tag, so I would like to thank Vanessa for tagging me. It's super nice of you, and it made my day. So now I'm gonna tag some people. I'm going to tag Miss Sassy Cassie, The Chameleon, Books and Smiles, and Dylan the Reader. 5. Dylan the Reader 5. Yeah, have fun with the tag, guys, and have a good day. Bye.